Thank you, Kevin. So, hello, everyone. As Kevin said, we're good. I'm Cristy Bennett, Vice President of Supply Chain at Oglethorpe Power, and everybody says, who is Oglethorpe Power? We'll get into that. I have been using Maximo since 2010 when they brought me over to Oglethorpe and said, stand up a supply chain organization. And oh, by the way, you have to use Maximo to use it, to do this. My first conference that I went to was a Maximo Utility Working Group conference in San Francisco, and I had been there 3 weeks and didn't know even how to sign on to Maximo. So now I'm on their committees and their management committees and have been drinking the Kool-Aid for 15 years. So a little bit of the agenda. Going to introduce who Oglethorpe is, because we've got a different business model in the utility space than some folks are aware of. What our Maximo Environment is, what our challenge we faced, what the solution we came up with, the results. I have a demo because they don't allow me to do anything in the system now. All I can do is approve. I can actually run the system, and then we'll open it up to Q&A. Now, if any of you have any questions, any time during, this is very informal, and please stop me, throw something at me, it doesn't matter. So, that's the state of Georgia. That's where I'm born. That's where I was born. It's headquarters for Home Depot, for Delta, UPS, corporate headquarters, Coca-Cola. I don't drink the P word, Pepsi. Chick-fil-A, if you've ever been from the States, you'll know Chick-fil-A. But also the corporate headquarters for Oglethorpe Power. So a little bit about Oglethorpe Power Company. We have more than $16 billion in assets. We run power plants. We own, operate, and in 4 years' time, that will change from $16 billion to $19 billion because we're in the process of building a $3 billion investment in a new combined cycle plant. We have a very diverse portfolio. We have nuclear. We co-own 6 units, nuclear units in the state of Georgia. We predominantly are natural gas, but we also have ownership in a coal plant as well as a pump storage hydro facility. Our footprint is only in the state of Georgia, and our owners, which are the co-ops in Georgia, provide the power to their customers. This is our footprint, as also all of our power plants. Blue nuclear, green is our natural gas, either combined cycle or simple cycle. We have 1 pump storage hydro facility, and as I said, we co-own 2 units at a coal plant in Middle Georgia. So these are our power plants, and from a Maximo perspective, these are our sites. We are a single org, multi-site user of Maximo. Our headquarters, our corporate facilities use Maximo to manage the facilities, as well as the first 3 plants across the top are our combined cycle facilities. Rocky Mountain is our pump storage, and then the rest of them are simple cycle plants throughout the state. Behind the Oglethorpe sign is we just broke ground on our new combined cycle plant, actually just 3 weeks ago, and we hope to have that in operation by 2029. Also, we do have a 7th unit at our, let's see if I can get this to work, at our Talbot facility, and that is presently under construction as well. So y'all don't care about my power grid, or y'all don't care about my power plants, but what y'all do care about, and yes, y'all is a Southern term, what y'all do care about is our Maximo Environment. We are currently on 7.6.12. We do plan to go to Mass 9.1 in April of 2026. And as you can see, We use almost all modules of Maximo. We have HSE, but we're here to talk about supply chain. So we do our contracts, all of our contracts, which is not just our blanket contracts, but also our master agreements and our child contracts for all of our service contracts for all of our plants. We manage all of our inventory through Maximo. We developed a bin master application to help us create bins easier. We do our shipping and receiving, we do our counting, we manage our storerooms. From purchasing, we manage our companies, our vendors in Maximo. We manage insurance. We developed an insurance module so that we could manage the insurance certificates for our contractors. We have an API with ISN, which is a safety statistics third-party software that we utilize to monitor the safety of our contractors. We do requisitions, we do requests for quotes, purchase orders, receiving, invoices, that's what we're here to talk about, as well as we do our visa and expense reporting in Maximo, and we have a Knowledge Lake bot for our corporate. But that's everything that we use, and we are highly workflow enabled. We have 400 employees in our company, and 350 are in Maximo on a daily basis. Oops, wrong one. So, why am I here? I'm telling you about our journey. And our journey started back in 2022 with accounts payable. So first off, you should know in 2022 we had a third party, a sister company, doing all the accounts payable work for Oglethorpe Power as well as our other sister transmission company and then themselves. And they had been doing that for years. And then in 2022, more than 50% of the invoices that they processed on a daily basis were all Oglethorpe invoices. At the time, 2022, the invoices that we're really talking about are about 11,000 a year. That's not all of the Oglethorpe invoices, but those are the invoices that we're going to talk about today. So, the end of COVID, the AP department experienced some resource issues, and I think we all can remember back what COVID presented. And at the end of 2022, or third quarter 2022, it was taking 3 to 4 weeks to even get an invoice entered into the system. That's regardless of the invoice date is January 1. It could be January 31st before it was ever even entered into the system. Our vendors, of course, were getting paid late. By year end, we were being paid 20 days late on average. Our vendors were cutting us off. They were not accepting purchase orders anymore. They were charging us late fees. And why did this happen? Well, prior to 2029, there was one AP staff member in that shared service organization entering all of our invoices and processing. And then starting in 2029, Oglethorpe started a program where we were acquiring plants from independent power producers. So we tripled our number of plants and sites that we were supporting using Maximo. And AP, added one more person. Even though we told them at every time, we're buying a new plant, it's going to double your workload. They added one new person in 15 years. So this is some data that I pulled the last quarter of and January of 2023, the last quarter of 2022 and 2023. This is from the receive date, not the invoice date, from the receive date to when the invoice was entered into Maximo. And this is what AP was averaging. And the reason why they went down to 9 was because they had hired 5 contractors just to help them catch up. So this is from receive date to pay. It was taking 22, 19, 18, however many days just to pay. This doesn't include the invoice date. This is just when it was received. And this was the average days paid late. 23 days in October, all our invoices on average were being paid late. Mama was not happy. So, the value of this type of event. In September of 2023, I attended Maximo Utility Working Group Conference and was introduced to TriNMax, a company that provided a solution for us using scanning and OCR technology. And the solution is called ScanNMax. So what does it do? It's an add-on, fully integrated with Maximo. It provides OCR and AI capabilities. It allows the invoices to be received from either internal email addresses or external sources. The invoice can be a scanned, a PDF, a photograph of a handwritten invoice. Yes, we have some that are just handwritten. The data is brought into the system, interpreted, and prepared to be entered into Maximo. Our AP team can view it, can validate it, which is important because we all know sometimes AI and OCR is not 100%. And then they have the ability to adjust the data before it goes into Maximo. The invoice is created, the data is placed into the relevant Maximo fields, and the invoice is attached to the Maximo record when it is created. Oh, yeah, I got ahead of myself. And then once the invoice is created in Maximo, it deletes from the queue. So what was our schedule? We were introduced to the software in September, the end of September 2022. We purchased the software in December of 2022. Implementation began January 3rd, 2023. Happy birthday, me. That was my birthday present. The solution went live February 1 of the same year. I'm sorry, my IT team said there's no way. They wanted 6 months to implement the software. And I told them I would be fired if it went longer than 1 month. And they were able to accommodate it. Now that is the benchmark for all of our IT projects. I hold them to that standard now. So why did we have a quick implementation? The software itself didn't take long. And it only took 4 weeks for us to develop the processes because we had already developed all the workflows for our invoices. So if an invoice went into suspense because the material wasn't received, we already had a workflow and a status of waiting receipt. And so we were able to build on what we had already developed. So some of the details, and I know this is a very busy slide and I apologize, but the invoices are queued and you will see that shortly. I do have a demo. The invoices are scanned and the data is parsed and prepared into the existing into the fields of Maximo. If a PO exists and the invoice has the PO number on it, it pulls the data from the PO into the system, into the ScanNMax system. The invoice is created and it can be verified and approved using or workflowed for other approvals. Again, I mentioned that the record is deleted from the queue, and we do have the ability to create templates or to have templates created. There are some of our invoices, like our utility bills, our power bills or our water bills, they don't have invoice numbers on them. And so we've already had come up with our rule of creating an invoice number on those type of invoices. And so using a template, it helps us take the account, the meter date and the account number and create an individual invoice number. So we are using this tool for both our PO invoices as well as our non-PO invoices. And in the demo, you may hear them called direct pays. Those are utility bills, UPS bills, FedEx bills, water bills. We were already attaching the invoices to the Maximo record, and so to help resolve invoice issues. Our system, we require a 3-way match on everything. So if there's no receipts, it goes into suspense. We have absolutely no receipt tolerance. That's just my audit, right? My auditors have given that to me. We have no tolerance on invoice dollar amount either. So a rounding issue has to be, somebody has to approve it. Any revisions needed? Yes, sir. Zero tolerance right now. Excuse me?
What is the budget, budget?
I can't give you that because it's got, yeah, it's a huge number with zero tolerance. Yeah. So any revisions for matching, we have to revise the PO, right? And then like I said, non-PO invoices like utilities, they still require approval by our management. So we have special workflows for those. So again, here was our timeline. Discovery demos, September of 2023. We awarded the contract in December 15th of 2022. We began implementation. Our go live was February 1. We were going to go slow and we were going to adopt it slowly. But what we found was the success was so good, we said, nope, we're just going to go whole hog. And I'm sorry, that's a Southern term, but we implemented immediately. So what benefit does it give us? For one, whereas our third-party AP team managed the emails that they got all their invoices, we now manage the email box. And this is just a snapshot of our email box. We not only have the invoice come into queue, but we also see the emails, and we manage those. So before we have expedited entry, and I'll show you a little data point on that. We have a dedicated email address for all of our invoices. We communicated that to all our vendors. We now are getting our invoices entered quicker. We have the opportunity to take advantage of early pay discounts, and all of a sudden our vendors are accepting orders from us again. As I said before, it was taking 3 to 4 weeks to enter an invoice and 19 days from receipt of invoice to get it paid. Our third-party AP team was averaging entering 100 invoices a week. 100 invoices a week per person. In week 10 that we stood up the system, one person who worked for me, who was also part-time staff assistant at a power plant, so she was not full-time AP, entered 296 invoices in 1 week. We were averaging and still are averaging 1 day to enter an invoice into the system. Yes? Why was it taking them? It was a resource issue. They had, you know, they hired all these contractors. They had to train them. They got overwhelmed. They got backed up with all the invoices, and it wasn't under our management. It was a third party. It was a third party, right?
One person can enter more invoices in a day.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, mismanagement. And nobody is here from that organization now, but it was mismanagement. Okay, early statistics. So the first 4 bars are pre-ScanNMax. The next 5 are post-ScanNMax. And you can see the difference. From receipt to enter, it went from in the teens to 1 day to enter. Now keep in mind, if it's entered and it doesn't automatically approve, it has to be workflowed for something. PO change, request a new invoice if it was not supposed to be taxable and the invoice had tax. But we went from receive to pay from 20, 19, 18 days to now 9 or 8. And this is all the workflow, you know, the behind the scenes workflow. Invoices paid late went from 20, 15, 29 to now we were paying early. Now, part of this, during this time, our AP, not our organization, our third-party AP had decided they would not pay to terms. They would pay, if it was approved, we pay it on the next check cycle. And they also moved from paying once a week, because that was our routine, to paying twice a week in order to try to catch up on all of these overdue invoices. That's a winner right there. So our current statistics, we've processed almost 30,000 invoices since February of 2023 using the ScanNMax tool. We're averaging 2 days. Now keep in mind, those 2 days also include the weekends. We are averaging 11 days from to pay, from entry to paid. We did decide to go back to pay to terms and not to pay immediate. We also went back to processing once a week, back to where we were before. But we're still averaging paying 11 days before term, before net 30. So this is most recent data. And this number, again, is the average number of days to enter an invoice. And then this here is the average number of days from once it's approved to when it's paid. But remember, we're paying to terms now. We're not paying as soon as it's approved. And then again, this number in yellow is from the invoice date to when it's received by us. Now, those are all POs. These are our contract invoices, which are not being processed by ScanNMax. And you will see we've got some work to do, because guess what? I now have AP in my organization. I didn't before, I do now. It became such a success, and it was such a good story to tell in our organization that they gave me AP. So this is now what I have to work on. So this is what the ScanNMax tool looks like. You're going to see a demo in just a second, but I wanted to take a moment to show you. On this side, this is the queue of the tool. So at the time I did the screenshot, there were 33 invoices in queue to be processed. This section right here is the PDF document, and you'll see in the demo our analyst has the ability to make it larger. And in this case, this one invoice was multiple pages, and that shows up here. And then this over here is the data fields that will become invoice data fields. This down, oops, it's going to start. We'll talk through it. Down at the bottom is the Maximo data if it's pulled in from a PO.
I am the Senior Maximo Process Analyst for Oglethorpe Power Corporation. Today, I will be demonstrating how to process invoices using ScanNMax. From my Start Center in Maximo, I can click on the ScanNMax under my Favorites application, or I can go up to the 3 lines, down to Purchasing, and over to ScanNMax. Either one will take me into my work queue. Right now, ScanNMax is pulling in all the available invoices that I have to process. So on the left-hand side, I'd like to start by showing you some features of ScanNMax. This is Display Invoice History. This shows you what I have processed today, as you can see. And then, of course, last week, there's some invoices in there from last week that I processed. The next one is Display Invoices as a List. And basically, it's this on the left-hand side, just as a list. That's just what that means. And then, of course, you have the search engine. You know what that is. It's you can search it by PO number or vendor or invoice number if you have it, just to pull in a certain invoice. And I'm going to show that in just a moment. And then I have 58 invoices in my work queue. And this is your sort feature, however you want to sort your invoices. I have a few invoices flagged, which you can use any of the flags. I just have these flagged in a certain color to tell me what it is. This one is flagged because we are waiting for the PO to be revised. And I have it flagged. And then, of course, I have a note under here, under the user note. And you can add whatever you need. We're verifying some company information on this one. So I have this one flagged as well. So in the center is my actual PDF. And this is what the vendor has sent in to us to process. And these are just normal standard PDF features up here. And this is the invoice. You can see it's just one page. I am going to use the search field real quick and pull in an invoice that I'm going to process. And of course, you see it is pulled in this specific invoice that I'm going to process. I'm going to click on the Fit to Page button so that brings it up all the way into the center. And this is the invoice I'm going to process today. On the right-hand side, we have the invoice information that ScanNMax has pulled in. And all this is the information. We also have the email that we can see where the email was sent to us into our email address. And this information here, it was sent today. And this, the body of the email, it's all right there. I have the option to delete anything if it's not an invoice, if it's a statement, or if it's just a PDF document. I can delete those out of here. So I'm going to show you the part that ScanNMax has pulled in from the invoice here. This is the invoice number right here. Here's the invoice date right here. This is shipping to our Chattahoochee facility. So that's why we have a chat site right there. Here's the PO number. And the PO number is here in the body of the invoice, and that pulls in our vendor information from the PO number. So this is Pioneer, and everything here at the top of the invoice looks correct. There's nothing there's nothing different that needs to be pulled in from here. I can look at the PO if I want to, or the vendor information if I need to do that, or I can search on either one. So down here in the body of the invoice, you can see the description of the material. And if you open this shows you, this is our PO information on the top, and this is the vendor information that's pulling from here. So it doesn't match exactly, it's only matching like 14%, and you can see that right here where it says 14% match, and that's only because the description was a little off. But this is our item number, that's their item number. And then, of course, if we had a work order number, it would show here. And then this item it was 10, quantity of 10 has been received at our site. So this is why this is checked. It says receipts are complete on this line item. And here's our GL code for the site. We ordered 10 and we received 10. So that's what that's showing here, quantity received. And then quantity invoice, there's a 0 here because nothing has been invoiced against this line yet. So there's quantity 10, they're $4.29, and the total is $42.90. And all this information is right here. So then down here, this invoice has freight on it. So I have choices down here to copy PO lines, add a new line, or extract lines from the actual invoice. But today, all I'm going to do is hit new freight line, and this pulls in the freight line, and I'm going to copy the GL code. And then I'm going to put my freight in my quantity field so that I can allocate the freight to the material line in Maximo. So here it is at $62.99. This matches. Everything looks good. This actual invoice was just pulled in by an AI. We have a few that are set up as templates as well, but this one was just AI pulling all this information in directly from this invoice, and then of course the PO pulled in the rest of it. So that's processing one invoice. I'm going to hit create invoice, and once it's done, I can click here. It takes me directly into Maximo. This is everything I just did in ScanNMax. If you look here at the long description, this is the email address, or the email that was sent to our email address, sorry. And then everything's the same. There's the invoice number, the dollar amount, invoice date, the receipts that are complete on this. And then here is the attachment. The invoice from the PDF is automatically attached from ScanNMax into Maximo. So I don't have to do that. I'm going to go to the invoice lines. Here's that invoice line, that material line that's on the invoice. And then I added the freight. So I am going to allocate the freight to my material. And this invoice is good to go because the receipts are complete. So this is a three-way match for us. And I'm going to hit the check mark up here. It's going to change from entered to approved. And that's done. And I can move on to the next one. Now, once I've done that, this invoice is now gone from ScanNMax, and it's pulled out of my work queue. I am going to show you what the template ones look like. Let me go to direct pay, and we have templates set up for our direct pay invoices. And you can see it has a T here. And this is just pulling in all the information, exactly how it is on the invoice. For this, a template, I can hit extract lines, and it will pull in this amount right here, and it pulls in the FedEx Express. So that's what we have set up as a template. So those are all for our normal monthly utility bills and FedEx or UPS. So that's it. That's what I do, and that's my process. I hope you enjoyed the presentation. Thank you.
Okay, let's see. That was my former staff assistant, who is now the main invoice processor. Thank you. So you saw that there were some things like freight allocation and stuff like that. So coming soon, there is in version 3.3 point whatever, we're going to have the ability to extract freight lines. So that will help her significantly. And then in 2026, there's also some other functionality that the tool will be providing us. This is all in the email, all in the PDF, and I think you'll all get copies of this. So that's the presentation. So now it's Q&A. Yes, sir. There's a microphone, maybe. So before you ask you a question. So why did it take so long to enter an invoice? So it comes in by email or by snail mail. They would have to go to a scanner because they didn't have a scanner in their office. They'd have to go to the scanner, scan the invoice, email it to themselves, go to their email, save it to a network drive, then go back to Maximo and remember what that file name was and create an invoice and then attach it to the record. And then manually enter all the information off of that PDF. So it was labor intensive. It was a process, and it was a process that they were using, and they didn't bother to come to us and say, you know, we're really having problems here. They just let it get further and further behind. Okay? Yes, sir.
Yeah. Hello.
Hi.
Thank you. Thank you for your presentation. I think my question, probably you might have shown it, but just to clarify, in sense of the quality check, is the process like that, you know, the operator brings up the PDF and then checks the, you know, boxes and see whether they match and then approve it? Is that the
Yeah,
quality
that's the process right now. And part of it is because we do freight prepaid and allowed. No, excuse me, freight prepaid and add. So every invoice we get has a freight line, and none of our POs have a freight line on them. So she is having to manually add freight to every invoice that she processes. We're hoping with the new version that it will be able to read the freight line, pull it in, and there'll be less manual entry. But right now, yes, she is verifying the data that goes into that.
And in that process, the follow-up question is that what is the level of accuracy that you see in that transfer?
I would say probably 95%. Really, the templates are the ones that probably take her the most time to manage. One of the things we found is our distributors like Grainger, and I don't know if y'all have Grainger here, but Grainger is a big distributor for us. They invoice as soon as material left their dock. We got the invoice entered within a day. The material was still en route. Every invoice was waiting receipt. And, you know, we would enter it, and then it would go, and then we'd have to wait. And so, yeah, we have a great goal of only entering invoices every day, but there's a downside to that, right? There's a downside. So we're kind of changing some of our processes to say, all right, maybe 2 to 3 days. You know, we're doing so well, give it a couple of days to get the material received. Because we're receiving at not a central warehouse, we are receiving at all 15 plants. Some are material specialists, our supply chain folks. Some are the plant staff that are actually doing the receipts. Yes, ma'am.
I'm just wondering about partial receipts. So if you get an invoice in where you're getting like some, oh sorry. This just makes it a bit more. Hi. I'm just wondering about partial receipts. So do you have any issues with the ScanNMax? Sorry. ScanNMax.
So
identifying that as partial?
Yeah, well, you saw in there, it said the PO amount and then the receipt amount. So if we ordered 10, but we only received 5, it shows that because we're pulling that. If the invoice is 5, we can pay it because we've received 5. If the invoice is 10, but we've only received 5, then the status becomes waiting receipt, and it goes to our buyers or our plants to wait for those receipts to be done. Yeah. And I can promise you, I did not show on what my Start Center shows. My Maximo Start Center has a status of all of our invoices that are not approved, whether it's waiting receipt, waiting PO, waiting tax, waiting approval. Yeah. So I'm monitoring it daily.
Thank you.
Yes.
Hey, thanks for that. I think that's working. Is that
Yes, yes, yes. And the buyers get everything, it, the workflow goes to multiple people, depending on the site, and depending on the suspense status. You know, if tax, it'll go to tax or something like that. But the buyers are involved, you know, so that, yes, they do. And they're managing they all have that suspended invoice on their work center as well. We start with the invoice that kind of populates, but if there's a pricing discrepancy, then it's waiting for a purchasing change, and then it goes to the buyer, and then the buyer either has to determine, did he write his PO wrong and has to modify his PO, or did the vendor issue an invoice incorrectly, and now we have to wait for a new invoice. Well, it's entered, right? But our PO is our ruling. Yeah, yep, yep. Yes. No, we are U.S. Yeah, no receipt tolerance. Yep, yep. Right, right. U.S. dollars. Everything is U.S. dollars. Yes, our international suppliers convert to U.S. dollars. Yes. So we have to go to the next presentation, but in the presentation are all the contact information. Both myself, my IT person, my BSA, my processor, as well as the software developer. Thank you all, and love the questions.